Hi everyone, this is Niharika and I take care of marketing at Hyperbots. Today we have with us Anna Thiomina, who's a CFO with SoftTech currently and has been operating in the finance domain for over 2 decades. Hi Anna, how are you doing?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Doing great.
Lovely to have you, Anna. And we are so super excited to have you here. And before we begin with the topic, which is ROI on AI-led automation initiatives, it would be great if you can take us through your journey, your roles, and past experiences as a CFO, and how you have evolved in the finance domain over the period of years.
Okay, so I'm in finance through all of my career,
Mhm,
which is almost two decades by now, which is unbelievable.
mhm.
And I've progressed from controller to senior controller to CFO. I'm serving as a CFO for more than 2 years, for more than 10 years, and I've worked in different companies and smaller companies in big multinational companies. So I think I have a pretty good understanding of the financial environment and the challenges that companies face in this sphere. Um, my biggest goal is always to ensure the financial health of the organization, but also to drive all the finance related processes, because finance is responsible for a lot of important things. You cannot drop any of them. The consequences can be really dramatic for the company. So I like to see myself as a guard, in a way, a person that guards the organization from getting into trouble.
Thank you so much for explaining that, Anna. And I'm sure this conversation is going to be very valuable for all the listeners, all the viewers that we have. And your experience in finance domain is going to, enlighten us with what kind of decisions one should make when considering introducing AI in their finance products also. So, to begin with, I would love to understand from your vantage point, how do you perceive the current landscape of AI-led automation in the finance industry?
Yeah, I might say this is a very exciting process right now. A lot of new things are happening in the area. It
Mhm.
looks like AI automation would really help finance professionals to streamline processes, reduce errors, provide insights, and that it would help us to avoid manual tasks, which I think it's like the most unpleasant part of what we people in finance do. Also, from the perspective of a finance executive, I see that this topic is on the agenda for many CFOs and many
Mhm.
organizations. And it is important to stay on top of this process for everyone who wants to progress in their careers and lead their organizations to success.
Lovely. And I'm sure this is going to be very insightful for all of us. And from your understanding, what sort of investment do you anticipate when someone is thinking of implementing AI?
Yeah, so first thing to mention is I've read a research very recently, and the research shows that finance is not among the top areas for AI adoption and implementation in the industries. Companies usually start in areas such as customer relations, marketing, sales, software development, R&D. So
Mhm.
finance is somewhere at the end of this list. Why is that happening? My understanding is that's because finance is the very risk-averse area. So this is not the first place where you would put innovation.
Right.
Second, many companies and CFOs openly talk about it. Many companies are not ready for AI adoption because
Mhm.
the data is not integrated. There is no single source of truth in many
Mhm.
data points. and the processes are not smooth enough to implement automation in these processes. And also understanding that implementing AI in finance is a substantial investment. We finance people always think ROI. So before starting, some effort, and this looks like a significant effort, we are
Right.
thinking about, okay, what we will get out of that. So when we are thinking investment in implementing AI, what three main areas of investment do we think? So the most obvious is, the financial investment, the cost of software, cost of maintaining the software going forward. This is the most obvious one, right? Second,
Absolutely.
yeah, second is time, because there is not much like experience in this area. Sometimes it's hard to understand if it would take a lot of time or not that much to implement and adopt the new technology. Let's not forget about effort. I have always been working with very lean organizations where every additional process stretches the current team. So you would be, I'm always very mindful of what I put on the shoulders of my team. So these three main areas of investment, time, effort, money is kind of what it gets to if we talk about investment.
Absolutely. And I believe when it comes to transactional data, value associated with money, ROI, it's a good decision to be very mindful of where you're making investment with respect to AI, because, of course, AI is being created by humans and it was not 100% accurate when it was introduced. So after having it tested and tried in various domains, application of AI in finance, sounds like a good decision. At the same point, is very opportunistic in terms of what it has to offer in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds exciting, right, in the beginning, but as any new technology, you would need to assess some kind of ROI while
Right.
making this decision. And also, if you're presenting this, as an offer to a board or to your management team, you also need to put some kind of calculation behind. So if we think about returns that companies can expect out of this whole process, well, it turns out it's not that easy to quantify at this point of time, right? We can think about measurable KPIs like productivity increase, cycle time reduction, less errors, being able to do more with less, reducing manual input, customer and employee satisfaction. But to quantify those, you really need some kind of experience and data based on previous implementations. And we don't
Right.
have that now.
Right.
So we can kind of run some kind of very high level calculation. But at this point of time, I think it's wiser to focus on long-term goals rather than pure mathematical ROI calculation.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you on this, Anna. And let's say an organization has already introduced AI in their finance section. What sort of insights derived from data which is being driven with AI can impact strategic decision making within the finance function as per you? What are your thoughts around it?
Well, in my career, I was always balancing my time around data preparation and then data analysis and getting the insights from the data. It would be really great to get rid of this first part and get straight to data analysis. So it is amazing to see sometimes what you get out of working with data. Sometimes, you have one perception of what's going on, but then you run the analysis and you see a totally different picture. So, of course, having ability to process more data, have AI do all the preparational work for you, and not spend too much time on working with, the organizing tables, or like preparing the pictures, or, you name it. It's a big part of my job.
Right.
It's really amazing to think that I would be able to spend more of my time looking and analyzing the data and not preparing it. So I do think that's an amazing transformation that is going on in the industry. So yeah, a lot of very valuable insights can happen out of these data-driven processes.
Absolutely. And I feel as we evolve in this introduction of AI to different organizations, it surely is going to give us some impactful outcomes sooner or later. Great. So, Anna, as we are almost approaching the end of this conversation, but any advice that you would like to give to the CFOs or finance leaders considering AI-led automation initiatives to enhance their return on investment?
Yeah, actually, I have some advice to share. So first of all, and this is a very unusual advice from my side, but first of all, don't be focused on ROI on the first steps of implementation.
Right.
Think more strategically, focus on long-term perspective rather than short-term. Second, invest in proper training for your team. Experiment a little bit with some smaller processes. Every finance organization has some ugly data processing tasks they hate. So try to maybe start with these smaller parts and then go to bigger processes. Establish a robust data management framework, because as soon as you move to AI and start to utilize more AI-driven functions, the quality of data becomes paramount. So always keep in mind that there will be no person who would be looking at the data and kind of flagging if something is wrong. Make sure that the data is structured, consistent, and has single source of truth.
Absolutely. And as you rightly mentioned, each one of us who gets who gets into interaction with AI in finance domain should be very mindful of the decisions that they are making. And thank you for that, Anna. I think these were some great insights that will surely help future CFOs out. And it was great having you on board and having this conversation. And I had a lovely experience, and this is very insightful for me as well. And looking forward to having more sessions with you. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.